9:17. It's the morning show with Jeff and Will, AM 1700, WRCR, Haverstraw, WRCR.com. Welcome in with us, will you please? Tina Traster of the Rockland County Business Journal. That's rcbizjournal.com. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning, Jeff and company. How is everybody out there?
All doing very well, thank you. Yourself?
Good. Beautiful weekends.
Yeah,
right?
Yep.
So that was nice.
Took in the parade yesterday over there in Pearl River. It was nice.
That's festive.
It is.
It's good to see that the world is festive.
It is nice to see that again. You know, we were talking about that, not to take up too much of your time, but it was the Pearl River St. Patrick's Day Parade that was really the first major thing to get shoved under by the wayside when COVID first hit back in 2020. Yep. And it was a last minute thing. Like, should we cancel it? Should we not? What are we going to do? What are we going to do this? And it was literally an 11th hour decision to do that. It was painful to go through that. And it's good to see it back again.
Yep. It makes COVID seem like it's very far in the rearview mirror.
Indeed.
So, speaking of the rearview mirror.
Well done.
Yes, I love a segue. Well, as you know. So tomorrow is going to be a very important day for Clarkstown and specifically the school district, because tomorrow is the day that the trial is set to begin in Palisades Center versus Clarkstown over the issue of, as the Palisades Center sees it, tens of millions of dollars in overpaid taxes. Essentially, the Palisades Center, or Equico, which is the corporate name, is suing the town, Clarkstown, and the Clarkstown Central School District, claiming that for the last 4 years, it's been overassessed and overtaxed. Their claim is that they had paid all those taxes, and now they're seeking a refund plus interest for all the money. It says that it's overpaid. The basic issue that the judge is going to have to look at here is year over year for these 4 years, the town kept increasing the amount of taxes that the Palisades Center owed by way of increasing its assessment. At the same time, the mall, like malls all over the country, their claim is that they certainly were not appreciating in value, if anything, just the opposite. And it's not just the couple of COVID years, speaking of COVID, that are at issue, but this stretches over 4 years. Now, those of us, and I'm sure you have a long memory here, can remember Murant suing North Rockland. And that was actually the largest tax certiorari case in New York City.
Specifically, I believe they sued the town of Stony Point, right? Not North Rockland in general, but it was right.
Up in Stony Point,
right?
And it was the largest tax certiorari case in this New York State history.
Yeah.
And tax certiorari cases are really just claims of overassessment and overtaxing. And as you know, up there in Stony Point, they are still paying off that settlement with 13 more years to go. Now, this might not be as colossal as Murant, but it won't be small either. The owners of Equico, as I said is the corporate name, is saying that over the last 4 years, the town overvalued its holdings by more than $1 billion, that's billion with a B, dollars. And it's seeking tens of millions of dollars in refunds. The cost to the Clarkstown Central School District could be $50 million, plus another $30 to $35 million in the loss of future tax revenue. Now, we know in plain sight that the mall has lost JCPenney, Lord & Taylor, Bed Bath & Beyond, and many more large and small stores. It struggled through the pandemic. The AMC Theater has had issues. And despite all of that, over the years, the town kept increasing the value of the mall. And the mall clearly says that the value has declined. So, like I said, the court is going to have to decide what the fair market value was in each of these 4 years in order for the, for Equico to have a successful challenge if it finds that it has been, overassessed. Now, if the town loses, it won't be as high as the price tag on the school district, but it also could still be tens of millions to the town. Now, according to the Palisades lawyers, the issue isn't, this is a direct quote that's in our story today, it isn't whether or not the mall was overvalued, overassessed, and overtaxed. The issue is by how much. And just canary in the mine shaft, the mall won a similar case up in Albany County in the town of Guilderland, where it owns the Crossgates Mall. And so, if past is prelude, and if in fact this is sort of a one-to-one, which is, an apples to apples kind of thing, Clarkstown should, I guess, be taking a look. I'm sure that their lawyers have taken a look at what has gone up by Albany in terms of trying to distinguish what was different there than what has happened here. So I think this is going to be a long trial. This is not going to get settled tomorrow, not at all. But I really think that this is something that everybody in the county really should be watching. So stick a pin in that. We will cover this, of course, and we will keep you up to date. Unless you have any questions or comments, I'm just going to go on to. Go ahead.
I'm just curious. Where do you think that does like you say, the trial gets underway tomorrow? Do you think it actually starts, or is there a settlement in the offing?
Oh, well, I don't have a crystal ball. Sometimes I feel like I do, but in this case, I would be extremely surprised if this is settled. I think that tomorrow's hearing will be mostly administrative stuff, kind of setting things up. But no, I would be really shocked if there's a settlement. That's not how it went down in Albany County. So I'd be surprised. Well, if there is, then we'll just have the news sooner, I guess, or we'll see where the chips have fallen sooner rather than later. But I mean, I do think this will be something that we'll know sometime in 2024. So this is something definitely that's important and something that needs to be watched.
Indeed. What else is going on in the pages of rcbizjournal.com?
Yeah, well, this was a very interesting thing that we had covered last week, and I'll try to explain why. So Clarkstown, West Nyack is about to get a group home that is going to serve young women with eating disorders. Okay, and the way this played out was last Tuesday at a public hearing that was really done just for, I'm going to say for show, because this was a decision that was already decided, even though 200 people showed up, and it seemed like the night went on. Well, the night did go on forever, and everybody spoke out against this situation. But the town's perspective was it had no choice, hands tied. I'll explain. So a corporate entity called Eating Disorder Treatment of New York, LLC, Monte Nito and Affiliates, they intend to purchase a West Nyack mansion at 259 Town Road. It's a giant 6-bedroom house with a swimming pool on a big piece of, actually not 1.7 acre piece of land, and they plan to convert this into a 24/7 residential facility. I guess understandably, the neighbors were not happy at the thought of what was a single-family home turning into essentially a residential home. I think people are always concerned when this happens in their neighborhood. But in this case, it was treated as though it was a done deal because the applicant had on its side the New York mental health hygiene law known as the Padavan law, which has largely been has not allowed the town to really challenge a proposal successfully for this sort of thing. So there has been a case, and we pointed this out in our reporting, in Westchester, where a group home was proposed, and that town said no, and then it was challenged, and the town actually prevailed. Now, those circumstances might have been very different. However, the town, the applicant certainly says that a facility like this is much needed. They say that there are 2,700 female youths in the county that need to be in a residential eating disorder facility, and that there are only 32 beds statewide. The town, the way that the Padavan law is set up is that the only way that it can be successfully challenged is essentially three things. One is if there's a concentration of other facilities within a certain proximity, which in this case there really wasn't. Two, if you can argue that it's going to change the character of the neighborhood. That, I don't know, I guess that's what was in question. And then three, if the town had undertaken its own search to find an alternative property, and the town, Clarkstown, had not. It relied on the applicant's search and the applicant's testimony that they looked everywhere else and couldn't find anything else. So, it was an interesting lesson, really, about something, this what's called the Padavan law. And I think that, where you have large homes like this, they are, their perspective, they can be targets for these kinds of facilities, which of course, have the intention of keeping people out of institutionalized care. So it was kind of it was a long night. It was an interesting hearing, and sort of a lesson about that New York State law. So yeah, that story is in Rockland County Business Journal to be read if people want to read the details. Kind of interesting story.
And all they have to do that is go to rcbizjournal.com. Thank you so much, Tina. As always, we will talk to you again on Monday.
Have a great week.